All right, hello everyone. It's right at 10 o'clock on this Friday, the 30th day here of May. Hello everyone. I'm wave meteorologist Brian Good. It's been an active morning with thunderstorms rolling through our southern counties that we do know now produced a likely tornado. I mean, all the damage supports that so far, but officially the Weather Service is on their way, and this is down into Washington County, Kentucky, not Indiana, but Washington County, Kentucky, where that mini supercell was embedded into a line of thunderstorms that rolled across the area. For us, for majority of us, it was just a steady rain. But that southern part is where the damage was. And now that we have confirmation from the Washington County Sheriff's Department that there has been a fatality in the storm that took place. I think it's only one, but there are several other injuries. And I don't know the extent of those injuries, but there are quite a few. And the damage is quite extensive. So here's what we're going to do. I'm going to update you guys on where we're at with this, show you what everything looked like this morning and how we're evaluating right now, as well as the Weather Service, on the trends with that cells that moved on by. And then we'll get into a little more of the longer term here in just a second. But at least want to let you know, where do we stand right now with our weather setup? Well, we do have the main thunderstorm that produced the tornado this morning into Washington County. It is still producing severe weather warnings, this time into eastern Kentucky. This thing's held on, really started to spin not far from Bowling Green, and then really got its act together, moved across the southeast side here of LaRue County, northern Greene, right into Marion, and then right into Washington County. And that's when the rotation was fairly strong through its entire path. Now, we've had some reported damage in Marion County, but it seems so far, from what I understand, around especially Lebanon, minor wind damage to trees. Again, those reports can be a bit delayed. But as we get more into that area of Washington County, that's where the touchdown was apparent. And to be honest with you, that's when the rotation really showed up the strongest, as it was about to exit Washington County, moved right into Boyle and Mercer County at that point, producing that damage along its path. We do have the chance to get additional thunderstorms. In fact, you can already see them across Indiana. Now, these are not going to be your tornadic type of thunderstorms in the area, but this is going to be your more lightning and thunder taking place. We didn't have much lightning this morning, but we'll have some lightning and thunder with these. And then again, we'll get maybe some small hail with some of them as well. I've lost control of my system, so technology has not gone well here today. So hang tight with me as I try to get back online here for us so I can control my maps here. But just awful news there into Washington County. And, we had a feeling this was going to be kind of the setup. Let me bring in Tawana Andrews. She's with me here. She was on air this morning. You guys probably watched her with our coverage we had. And Tawana, this is where we're keeping an eye on that cell that moved again right there in that path and across just south of the parkways. Again, southeast LaRue County, Marion, and right into Washington County. Kind of describe what you went through this morning and tracking the rotation on the radars move through.
So it kind of just looked initially like you could see the storms trying to fire up as they got closer to Hart County. So then that's when I started to be like, okay, let's start to pay attention a little bit more and started to see that growing rotation showing up in Hart County and track that all the way into northern Greene County, southern LaRue County, into northern Taylor County, and all the way into Marion County. And it's once it hit Washington County is when we started to get, of course, more of that. I think I even talked about it on air, and I went, oh, this is the most organized and most dynamic rotation I've seen all morning, because everything was kind of a little bit more, I keep saying dispersed because my brain isn't quite working.
Well, it fluctuated. It kind of cycled a bit as it went through. We saw it kind of ease back a bit, and then it kind of built back up in its spin.
So we had that initial batch of tornado warnings about 6 o'clock. That's when they allowed that initial batch of tornado warnings to expire, and then kicked it in about 3 minutes after that, and continued to watch that track all the way into Marion and Washington County. So we got, of course, you mentioned the tree damage, the small trees damaged, the limbs down in the Lebanon area. But also, it's just as soon as it hit that, and we were just talking about this, the higher elevations of Washington County, that's when we started to get more of that damage report going.
Yeah, exactly. And that's where things really escalated. That last moment, those last few scans were quite alarming. I don't know the exact speeds we had at that time, but that's something we're going to be looking at. Hopefully here in a second when
everything kicks back
in. Yeah, it's just been one of those mornings here. It's been active. It's just for a relatively calm setup. I mean, we've only had a marginal risk that was out, but boy, this tells you that even with a marginal risk, you can get some damaging storms. It doesn't happen often, but it only was one supercell.
Yes.
But that one supercell just had an agenda today.
Yeah, it just held on for as long as it did. And it basically was riding just parallel to that warm front and just tracking along it for that entire time, and just kept basically riding like a train on a train track straight up through the northeast. And the other thing I noticed with it is the amount of heavy rain just with that cell. Because a couple people said they got close to 2 inches of rainfall in parts of
I saw several
County.
flooding reports that were coming in that area too. High water.
Yeah, near Macville, like the creeks are completely out of their banks as of right now because of everything, that rain that moved through. Well, the rest of us were just like, what is she talking about? With that, you're just seeing rain.
Yeah, well,
and one storm.
But we had as typically the case in the metro, right? Just a really messy semi flipped over on its side. Cars were hydroplaning. It happens every time, just really more into the metro area, just because of our drainage here. If it on our system the way it is, it really allows for water to pool in spots. But for those of you that travel every morning on 65, the waters, whatever, you know where those spots are. It's always the same ones.
It's always the same ones. It's the same one right as you're getting close to Crittenden Drive. That tends to get a little bit I almost said pondy, but yes, it tends to be a little bit more ponding on the roads there. Anywhere a little bit further to the south of the Waterston on 65 as you're heading northbound as well. Brian's Bend is what we call it.
Brian's, 65 near Eastern Parkway.
Near Eastern Parkway.
I learned a hard lesson on that because I hydroplaned and crashed my car, and it's terrifying. And you have to go very fast at all. I mean, you just you hit that pooling water, especially when it runs at an angle off the interstate. And boy, it just catches you off guard, and you got to be ready. Yeah.
Every single time. It caught me off guard on 64 near Cannons Lane I think they've improved things a little bit more over there, but right as you're getting past like to that Cannons Lane exit, the water runs straight down 64. So if you're not paying attention, you will catch that water and you will spin. So that's why you'll always hear us saying, just slow down, take it slow. Because even if it's light rain at that point, you don't know what happened earlier in the morning in terms of what the ponding is, and you may be a little overconfident. So it's better just to take the precautions, take it slow as you can, and then continue forward on that regard.
If you don't mind, do you mind grabbing someone to
I got you. I will be right
connect on that? Thank you. Thank you, Tawana. I
always got you.
Thank you. Tawana did a great job this morning keeping track of everything as it was so active rolling through the area again with those storms that passed right there in that path across southeast areas of LaRue County into Washington County, all the way into parts of, again, eastern Washington County more so than anywhere. That was where the majority certainly did feel the impacts of that damaging setup there into eastern Washington. So that was the concern that we had, was that southern tier. The data was indicating a southeast wind component, and that's all it took to get any type of supercell to light up. And I think that's what our concern was, is that was going to be an issue for that area of LaRue County into Washington County. We are watching again the showers, thunderstorms located there across Indiana. Again, you see them dropping down through Martin County, Lawrence County, Orange County as well. They are going to be arriving here in the next couple of hours. And I don't see a severe risk with these, but they will be loud at times. We're going to have much more of a lightning count with that as they move on by. And it is getting colder above our head. The low pressure is east of us now. So now we got the colder pocket that is drifting over us at the moment. And that is what's going to lead to the round of showers and thunderstorms as we head into this afternoon that will allow for at least some small hail that could develop in the area. And that, again, I don't think it will get to severe limits. It will likely stay roughly into the, I would say, the pea-size, maybe dime-size hail that could drift out of that as we head into later on for this afternoon. Some pockets of heavy rain. We picked up a good solid inch and a half in many areas into Louisville especially. So again, that's led to some ponding of water. Now we've had a bit of a break, so that is going to be easing back and dialing back as we head into this afternoon. But we're going to get additional heavy downpours as we evolve to the afternoon hours. And that's what's going to lead to some more problems for your lunch hour into the afternoon. And in central Kentucky, I'm thinking roughly about 3 to 4 o'clock. All right. And then we'll get a break. Only a few light showers, no thunderstorms tonight, just showers once we get past sunset. And we'll be talking about the weekend setup here in a few moments, but that is where we're getting at least a small rain chance on Saturday. I think Sunday looks good at this point. Sunday should be the pick of the weekend. Unfortunately, and I get this question a lot here lately, is what's going on with this pattern? Why do we keep getting into this type of setup? And I do think it will repeat again. It will be roughly a week from today as we get into Wednesday and Thursday. Showers and storms will likely regenerate. Some could be strong to severe. And I think one of the bigger issues we'll have to watch out for is going to be flooding, because it may last all the way through the following weekend. And even the following week, we may still have to deal with clusters of showers and thunderstorms rolling through the area. So we'll be watching that. We're going to be covering that in much more detail in the 10-day as we get into later on for this afternoon. Once we get past these storms this afternoon, we'll be able to focus much more on that setup as we get into especially the afternoon hours for today. And then we'll calm things down. I can't see your comments right now, but if you have any questions, go ahead and put them in the chat. We'll get to them in a moment. I know right now a lot of the questions were about what happened this morning in our southern tier. And again, it was very isolated, just one supercell that moved across southern areas of our viewing area, roughly LaRue and Marion. Again, only some damage as we got into the Marion County area, but Washington County, especially eastern Washington County, near the community of Texas, actually, is where we saw the strongest rotation. That's where a lot of the images we're now getting into the newsroom are coming in from, indicating that severe potential that it looks like it did produce a tornado. I mean, the damage certainly looks like one. Cars were flipped. And as we get into, thank you, Steve. Appreciate that. He took care of me today. All right. Steve Kirkland to the rescue. All right. Sorry, guys. Okay, let me show you what that looked like this morning. I'm going to reset the radar. Let me get you into that area of, again, southeast Washington County. And this was what the rotation looked like this morning as you backtrack to about just north of 150, right in that area. That's where we really saw the rotation. I don't know if let me see if I can query that. I think I can still, even though we're beyond the data trends here for this afternoon or right now at the moment. Yeah, 125 miles per hour is the what we call gate-to-gate shear. That is alarming. That is alarming. That is a strong signal for a tornado when you get that kind of numbers and values. And again, this is just southwest of Deep Creek. Here is the community of Texas. And again, it developed right there on the ground and moved right into areas of Mercer and Boyle County there. I do have an image. This is sent in from the Washington County Sheriff's Department. Corey Halleck as well, who is an avid weather enthusiast there, and to Greene County, and he was able to get to the scene fairly quick. And this is just one of the several images that we've had of that. Again, that tornado that touched down. I mean, this is just sad images to see because we've got injuries, and then of course the one fatality that took place there into Washington County. Okay. Any questions? I can see your comments right now about that. Let's see, Madison. I was circling Campbellsville to show the path that the storm was taking, basically, for this morning. Again, I'll try to backtrack here and show you the radar view of what that looked like, and we'll kind of evaluate this too more as we get into later on for this afternoon. But again, that's where that velocity really just had that spike. Right there this morning. Time was roughly about 6:52 a.m. it looks like when it really began to max out in that area. That's when the tornado warning was out already, and you can see how it just kind of crossed right into eastern Washington County. It was not on the ground very long, and as Tawana was mentioning, we're thinking right now that it was a bit elevated, maybe just a funnel for a while, and then it touched down into that area of eastern Washington County. Okay, so again, what's next? Well, we're going to be tracking the setup for showers and storms for later on today. Again, mainly just hail makers as we head into the afternoon hours, producing more rounds of heavier rain. Some of the rain totals, 1.8. There's at 2.16 in Marion County, but Campbellsville only a little more than a half inch. So it was really all about that supercell path. You can see Lexington was over 2 inches. I think I ended up about 1.5 inches at my house, and then close to an inch, up to 2 inches in parts of even spotty amounts in the areas of Indiana. In the metro itself, we can actually look at that a little closer. You can see we've got 1.21 into portions of Okolona, the 0.09 there, Fern Creek. That is not right, so I think that's a glitch. 1.45, though, as you get into northeast Jefferson County, not far from Prospect, and then more than 1.5 inches into PRP. Okay, so this afternoon, we're going to be tracking those showers and storms. Very spotty in nature. Again, the severe risk is very, very low. It's more about dime-size hail, pea-size hail. Just don't be alarmed if you're driving and you hear the ice hitting your windshield. Don't be alarmed that something's off track here. We're expecting that today, and we're expecting more in the way of lightning. So just be aware of that. If you have outdoor plans, cloud-to-ground lightning will be a little more of an issue this afternoon than what we had for this morning. But it's going to be in clusters, kind of spotty in nature, and then they'll fade out. Again, showers later on tonight, still possible into the midnight hour. The rain chance tomorrow, a bit of a challenge here because it's a backdoor cold front moving in to the area for tomorrow afternoon. They should develop this particular model. The graph is not overly thrilled, but they should develop very close to Louisville and then track to the southwest. And that's when they'll begin to spike. So right now I'm thinking it's just the southern and southwest area of wave country, a little more risk for late. It'll be late afternoon. Saturday, thunderstorms that could pop on the radar. But if you're in that area, Grayson County, Bullitt County, E-Town, be aware they could pop. If you're north and east of Louisville, the front will likely be past your backyard, and I think you'll be on the drier side of that. And we'll all be in that as we get into Sunday, which is certainly some good news. We need some nice weather. We're going to get it. In fact, it's worth mentioning, we're going to be chilly Sunday morning. I think we're going to be in the 40s early in the day, and that's going to be close to some record levels in some areas. I don't think it's going to get to the record level, but it is in that territory. We'll heat up as we head into early next week. We're still expecting mid to upper 80s to kick in. For Monday, Tuesday, it'll kind of just increase. The humidity will increase. But as I mentioned, we're getting back into this again. Another round of low pressures tracking over a boundary. The weather pattern, unfortunately, for us, will feature a boundary that will be very close to the Ohio River and Tennessee River valleys that is going to be very tough to break. This is going to be the zone of activity for a while. And I'm talking maybe up to 2 weeks that we'll have to deal with this. At the same time, you may not see it here on the Euro, but there will be an increase in tropical moisture that'll be fed into the Gulf and eventually to our area as well, feeding into this. I know there's some data indicating some development in the tropics there. We'll worry about that later. That's pretty far out. It's mid-June. But at least I do see moisture in general will be increasing from the tropics, feeding into our boundary. And that's what alarms me when it comes to the flooding setup. And at times, some of these storms will be strong as they move through the Ohio River Valley for the end of next week. We're not quite certain on the exact timing yet for any alert day status, but I got a feeling an alert day will come out with this pattern for later next week. Let me show you the 10-day real quick, and then I got to run. Sorry for the technical glitch there, but we got you on there, right? All right, so you can see the outlook. Again, 70s, 80s coming our way as we head into next week, and then we get into the end of next week. Yeah, that stormy pattern starts to kick back in once again. Any last questions that I can try to answer there? Let's see, how much you get in your rain gauge? 0.61, Adam. Okay, thank you. Appreciate that. It's bad enough when you're prepared, but poor people probably did not know it was coming. We had the threat, the potential was there for rotating storms, but did we expect something like this to touch down? No, the data did not indicate that type of severity. But we knew there was a chance, at least some severe weather. So that was talked about a lot in the past couple of days, especially for our southern counties there. All right, guys, I'm going to run. Thanks for watching. Thank you, Tawana, for joining me. And I'll see you guys coming up on midday at 11 a.m. And we'll have the latest on the damage and, of course, again, the one fatality in Washington County. And, of course, those latest the injuries as well. Thanks for watching, guys. I appreciate your time. Take care.